Wisdom chapter 13. Idolaters are inexcusable, and those most of all that worship for gods the works of thy hands of men. That's the subtitle. But all men are vain, in whom there is not the knowledge of God, and who by these good things that are seen could not understand him that is, neither by attending to the works have knowledge who was the workman, but have imagined either the fire, or the wind, or the swift air, or the circle of stars, or the great water, or the sun and moon, to be gods that rule the world. This is one of the things that really upset God that Israel was doing. They were worshiping in secret other gods, saying, God has forgotten about us. So they had a backup plan, and boy, did it upset him. With whose beauty, if they being delighted, took them to be gods, let them know how much the Lord of them is more beautiful than they. For the first offer of beauty made all those things. Or if they admired their power and their effects, let them understand by them that he hath made them is mightier than they. And for by the greatness of the beauty and of the Creator of them may be seen, so as to be known hereby. But yet to these there are less to be blamed, for they perhaps err, seeking God, and desirous to find him. For being conversant among his works, they search, and they are persuaded that the things that are good which are seen. But then again, they are not to be pardoned. For if they were able to know so much as to make a judgment of the world, how did they not more easily find out the Lord thereof? But unhappy are they, and their hope is among the dead, who have called gods the works of hands of men, gold and silver, and inventions of art, and the resemblance of beasts, or an unprofitable stone, the work of an ancient hand. Or if an artist, a carpenter, hath cut down a tree proper for its use in the wood, and skillfully taken off all the bark thereof, and with his art diligently formeth a vessel profitable for the common uses of life, and uses the chips of his work to dress his meat, and taking what was left thereof, which is good for nothing, being a crooked piece of wood and full of knots, carve it diligently when he hath nothing else to do, and by the skill of his own art fashioned it, and make it like in the image of a man, or the resemblance of some beast, laying it over with vermilion, and painting it red, and covering every spot that is in it. And he maketh a covenant dwelling place for it, and setting it on a wall, and fasten it with iron, providing for it lest it should fall, knowing that it is unable to help itself, for it is an image, and hath need of help. And then maketh prayer to it, inquiring concerning his substance, and his children, or his marriage. And he is not ashamed to speak to that which has no life. And for health he makes supplication to the weak, and for the life prayeth to that which is dead, and for help calleth upon that which is unprofitable. And for a good journey he petitioneth him that cannot walk, and for getting, and for working, and for the event of all things he asks him that is unable to do anything. Chapter 14. Again, another designing to sail, and beginning to make his voyage through the raging wave, calleth upon a piece of wood, more frail than the wood that carrieth him. For this is the desire of man of gain devised, and the workman built it by his skill. By thy providence, O Father, govern it, for thou hast made a way even in the sea, and a most sure path among the waves, showing that thou art able to save us of all things, yea, though a man went to sea without art. But that the works of thy wisdom might not be idle. Therefore men also trust their lives even to a little wood, and passing over the sea by ship are saved. And from the beginning also, when the proud giant perishes, and the hope of the world fleeing to a vessel which was governed by thy hand, left to a world seed of generation. For blessed is the wood by which justice cometh, but the idol that is made by hands is cursed, as well it as he that made it, because he made it, and it, being frail, it was called a god. But to God, the wicked and his wickedness are hateful alike. For that which is made together, but that which is made together with him that made it shall suffer torments. Therefore there should be no respect had even to the idols of the Gentiles, because the creatures of gods are turned into an abomination and a temptation to the souls of men and a snare to the feet of the unwise. For the beginning of fornication is the devising of idols, and the invention of them is the corruption of life. For neither were they from the beginning, neither shall they be forever. For by the vanity of men they came into the world, and therefore they shall be found to come to shortly to an end. For a father being afflicted with bitter grief made to himself the image of a son who was quickly taken away. And him who had died as a man, he now began to worship as a god, and appointed him rites and sacrifices among his servants. Then in the process of time, wicked custom prevailing, this error was kept as law, and statutes were worshipped by the commandment of tyrants. And those men who could not honor in presence because they dwelt far off, they brought their resemblance from afar, and made an express image of the king, whom they had a mind to honor, that by their diligence they might honor as present him that was absent. And to the worshipping of these, the singular diligence also is the artificer help to set forward the ignorant. For he, being willing to please him that employed him, labored with all of his heart to make the resemblance in the best manner. And the multitude of men, carried away by the beauty of his work, took him now for a god, that a little before was only honored as a man. And this was the occasion of deceiving human life, for men serving either their affliction or their kings gave the incommunicable name to stones and wood. And it is not enough for them to err about the knowledge of God, but whereas they live in a great war of ignorance, they call so many and so great evils peace. For either they sacrifice their own children, or use hidden sacrifices, or keep watches full of madness, so that now they keep neither life nor marriage undefiled, by one killeth another through envy, or grieveth him by adultery. And all the things are mingled together with blood, murder, theft, dissimulation, corruption, unfaithfulness, tumults, and perjury, disquieting of the goods. Forgetfulness of God, defiling of souls, changing of nature, disorder of marriage, and irregularity of adultery and meaning and uncleanliness. For the worship of abominable idols is the cause and the beginning and the end of all evil. For either they are mad when they are merry, or they prophesy lies, or they live unjustly, or easily forswear themselves. For whilst they trust in idols which are without life, though they swear amiss, they look not to be hurt. But for two things they shall be justly punished, because they have thought not well of God, giving heed to idols, and have sworn unjustly, in guile despising justice. For it is not the power of them by whom they swear, but the just revengeance of sinners always punisheth the transgression of the unjust. Have a good day.